I still get excited about going to sea.
The crew of the William Norling has hauled in the last of its 50 pots. Their catch tally stands at 60 lobsters.
Oh yeah, the boys.
The boys are winning. Rick has worked for Danny for 15 years.
He's pretty loose, pretty casual sort of a rooster. Single bloke. Yeah, no, he goes all right.
See, we're running a bit quicker today. Change the ropes over. From 55 fathom ropes down to 20 fathom ropes, shallower water. So we've had to disconnect the floats and the pots.
He's physically not the biggest bloke, but he's fast. You know, he's reliable, he's clean on the boat, which is a big factor. You know, he's easy to get along with on the boat. It's not a democracy. Look, I'm the skipper, and usually I say things for a reason why I want it done a certain way. And I'm always open to ideas. Like I say to Rick or to anyone, you know, if you've got a better idea, let me know, and we'll share it. If it's better, we'll use it. But if not, we'll keep doing it my way, of course.
Danny wants to bag more lobsters per pot to try and maximise his profit. So they're moving to a new spot called Death Valley.
There has been a few come to grief here, which is never great, but well, yeah, it's a really shallow area. The tide runs really hard across it, and if you get a big swell, it stands up, just falls over itself, and it can be a very poor place. Yeah. It's a bit like gambling, really. It's, you know, it is like gambling. It's sort of, you've got 50 pots, you've got 50 chances. Like, what's in the next pot? What's in the next pot?
The crew of Anson's Bay is setting its pots.
Yep.
Glenn knows how important it is to get results every day.
Even just leave them off now, like we put on 1,200 kilo of bait, that'd cost me, say, $2,800, probably $500 worth of groceries. You're looking at 5-6 grand just to leave more. Yep.
The overheads are bloody huge. Like, everyone thinks, you know, you look at it and you go, oh, yeah, you've made a lot of money this trip, but people don't realise how much money you got to put back out. You don't get to keep a real lot of it.
Yeah, so you've got to catch, you know, a couple hundred kilo before you even start making a dollar, you know. So if you get around here and you only get a couple hundred kilos, most of the time more, so.
They've dropped all 60 pots.
Yeah, that's the worst part of the trip out of the way, I think, so we'll find out in the morning what we get.
It's now a waiting game. The crew of the Bold Contender has lost half of its lobster pots.
This sucks, Toads.
So these 25 pots have been pulled down in the tide, so the buoys are underneath the surface. This time of year, in the winter, throw the tide chart out the windows and useless. The tide can run for 3-4 days as a big front's coming. It's pouring from the northwest. There's just nothing we can do about it.
The reason it's an issue is because Squizzy is on a time-critical special order mission.
We only got 3 days to catch 500 kilos. We needed a great start, and that's what I was banking on. 20 pots in, and I know it's going to be a disaster. It's all about luck, and we just got.
They've spotted one of the floats.
I just want to get out of here. I just want to go home. Sit at home on the veranda, looking out across the water, sipping on some wine. Whose idea was to do this?
Squizzy was the bright-eyed genius.
Loser.
And here's how it unfolded. Just 24 hours ago.
Blakey, what's going on?
I've spoken to the market today and they're chasing about half a ton of fish.
Oh, yeah, yep.
For next week. In by Monday, mate, so I can get to the market by Wednesday.
That's only 3 days fishing, Mick. Puts the pressure on a bit, doesn't it?
No one else would be able to do it. That's why I'm ringing you.
What's the money like? That's a big question.
I I know. At this stage, 80. But I might be able to do a bit better as we get through the weekend.
$80 is $5 above the current market price for brindles.
The price is $75 a kilo, but if we can get this order in by Monday, we can get 80. So get that half a tonne and we're laughing. If we don't get it, it's 75. Pretty disheartening. Not much we can do about it. Nothing at all. Stay in school. Hopefully when that tide eases, the boys will come back up and sit on top of the surface. Hopefully there's still a few there in the morning when we get to pull them. Hopefully we get to pull them in the morning.
At Cox Bight, the crew of the Minamara is battling fierce winds. The Southern Ocean swell is north of 5 metres. They still haven't been able to drop their pots.
We've been anchored up here and we're going to go around here where it's a bit safer.
When the weather's bad, a simple mistake can just turn into a nightmare, really.
Big reds are typically found in shallower waters close to the rocks, and that means the boats have to stay in close too. Every rock is a potential nightmare. The Southern Ocean is littered with smashed up vessels. Lobster hunting is a deadly job.
You've got to make a judgment how far in you go. We're going to keep them out a little bit. We're not going to go in too hard tonight so that we know that they're going to be safe. Probably less likely to catch too many fish, but we're just going to run ourselves in.
Clive will need every ounce of goodwill from the mighty weather gods if his stick and stay strategy is going to pay. Technology might help.
So what we're looking for is these cracks in the rock, but at the moment it's still a little bit too deep for the lines we're going to be using. Yep. So we're going to just get in a little bit shallower. Technology. So you can look at it any way you like. Yeah, fishing's not just fishing anymore, it's pretty high tech.
They'll set their 60 pots at different depths to try and find where the lobsters are feeding.
Yeah, you hype yourself up, ready to go. The adrenaline's good, keeps your heart pumping, it keeps you on edge all the time. As long as it's not too much, obviously, you don't want to scare yourself, just enough to just keep going.
Righto, Zach. Righto, Zach.
I think he's going easy on me. See where I'm at. It's been obviously first trip, first set. Just getting a feel for how each other work, I think.
Righto.
Always just keep an eye on the skipper. He'll let you know as soon as that pot's ready to go in.
Righto, Zach.
They've dropped their pots. Lobstermen call a full drop a shot, and the faster they can fill their tanks with lobsters, the more profit they can make per trip. The Barrelee has reached Matsika Island.
We'll hang around here for a few days and just see how we go.
Warren marks every pot on his GPS, so they'll be easier to find later. But there's no guarantee they'll find them. Squizzy also uses a GPS on the Bold Contender, and he's still searching for 25 missing pots. After 56 years at sea, Skipper Warren has worked out his own special system for finding big reds.
Spread your gear about your first shot to try and find out where they are, if there's any around. Look for different types of bottom. Really hard, thick stuff, but sometimes put a few down on a bit of lighter stuff just to see where they're starting to move, if they're moving around on what sort of bottom. Mix your depths up a bit. We're trying to find a few little ledges like this here.
What an asshole of a place.
No, it's not. It's beautiful. Look at it. So lovely and green.
This just happens to be the windiest place in Australia.
Warren has a love-hate relationship with Matsika. He loves it because it's full of big reds, but he hates it too because it took his first lobster boat.
We'd been sitting there for 3 or 4 days, waiting for the weather to abate. At that stage, the lighthouse was manned, so we thought we'd go up and have a talk to the lighthouse keeper for a couple of hours and then just wander back. And that's what we done. We went up to the lighthouse, and when we came back, the boat was on the rocks. It's not as bad as losing a member of your family, but I mean, you've lost a part of your life. Yeah.
And then there are the underwater predators. The seals, the eels, the sharks, and the octopus, all looking for a free meal. The winter weather will put every skipper to the test. Who'll hit their targets? Who'll bag the biggest? And who'll make a fortune? It's dawn in Death Valley. Skipper Danny is hoping his relocate strategy was the right call.
Try and think, you know, certain times of year, where are they at? Are they chasing after the girls? Where are the girls? I absolutely do think like a lobster, yeah. One of the other boats is out here fishing at the moment. He's pretty half-decent sort of a fisherman. Yeah, not good report, but anyway, he could be lying too, couldn't he? He could be having us, so... look, we'll go through the motions, go and change the water in them, as we say, and see how we go. It's fishing. That's what they call it, fishing, isn't it?
Danny and Rick shot their 50 pots overnight, and that's because lobsters mostly feed at night. It's time to see what they've got.
Usually if we get a few out of the first pot, it's not a good sign. We always say he started too well.